Ladies and gentlemen, this is another anti-human zone. Where are we?
Visit to 9.
Oh, we're at Ground Zero in New York. Oh, okay.
Visit 9/11 Memorial Preview Site.
And there you go.
The progress of it.
Good evening. I'm writing to you as always from central London in the United Kingdom. The date is the 8th of February 2010. We have, together, you and I, spent many years now showing the various glories of the human soul, and we have reminded ourselves what it is exactly that we are fighting for. I feel it is time now to get a little more active in our defiance and resistance to the big lie. I'm comfortable with calling this resistance a fight. All freedoms we enjoy were fought for by our ancestors in a never-ending dialogue between human sovereignty and the many forms of tyrannical government that we have endured. This is a fight to the death, for failure is not an option. We are either fighting for our freedom, or we are dead. As Rorschach says in The Watchmen, there is no compromise, not even in the face of Armageddon. In the 20th century, the biggest killer, aside from old age, was certainly government intervention into the lives of ordinary men. If you add up the Chinese Great Leap Forward, the various wars, the Stalin approach to sheeple management, the Holocausts, Rwanda, the Jews, the Armenians, all the skirmishes, all the wars, and the various American adventures around the world, we have a figure approaching 1 billion human beings killed by government action around the world in the 20th century. I feel it to be self-evident that without organised and systemic control, government control fueled by patriotism, propaganda, fear and religion, that human beings do not wish to travel around the world and kill each other. War, as they say, is hell. The impersonal killing of fellow human beings to further a patriotic cause is, in my opinion, the most abhorrent and vicious cancer that can befall any civilization. And to do so under the false disguise of self-defense against Al-Qaeda is doubly odious, for it is built on a lie. I was recently sent the following words. War is the truest form of divination. It is the testing of one's will and the will of another within the larger will, which, because it binds them, is therefore forced to select. War is a game because war is, at last, the forcing of the unity of existence. War is God. Well, if war is God, then I declare war on the combined governments of this world for their crimes against natural law and against humanity. I charge all governments with genocide and with brainwashing and with the manipulation of children into military uniforms. Above all, I charge the governments of this world with lying to the very people that they are supposed to represent. Since World War II, activists and peace lovers, hippies and intellectuals have attempted to make their voices heard about the brutality of war in an attempt to establish peace on earth. They have all been trampled on. I do not see what words I can say which could ever match the words of Martin Luther King, or the breathtaking horror of the naked Vietnamese girl running and crying towards the camera with horrific scars seared onto her body. There are not words I can say which could possibly match the image of the young Iraqi mother holding her lifeless baby after her building was bombed by coalition forces. But what I can offer, I do. I do the best I can. We are in the info war and also in the spiritual war, and I try and inspire and enlighten in my own way, straight from the heart. I know that it is not enough, and the work I do is never enough, but I carry on because I feel that it is right. Enough of you have told me that I am making a difference, and that helps me when I feel that my work is meaningless and absurd. But that is the duality of life. That which I find so essential and rewarding can also be viewed as absurd. I cannot take another politician coming onto the TV screen and lying to me. I cannot take another false Iraq inquiry where Tony Blair is allowed to spout his untruths and hate in the name of God. I cannot take another 2 years of the expansion of the big lie and of the police state. I don't know you personally, but I am sure the worries I have are the same worries that you have. I worry about what the hell my purpose here on earth is. I worry about paying the bills. I worry about my love life and the various emotions when dealing with other people. These things are hard. I also worry about humanity in general, for I feel a lot of pain seeing the things we all allow to happen every day. Many people may complain and ask that we are thankful for that which we already have, but of all the material comforts we enjoy and all the access to luxury, what do these actually mean to us if they're bought at the expense of others? They mean nothing. Either we are all free or none of us are free. The inescapable and frightening conclusion to all this is that we must reform the existing Western corporate model, and we must reform it immediately. There is not a day to waste, for bad people in this world are not wasting time reducing us to a mediocre simulacra of what we once were, of what we could be. For all the children killed, for all the women raped, and all the dignities of men trampled on, I pledge myself to this fight. I pledge myself to the revolution. We can see that the mass mind hypnosis is too strong and has been going on for too long for there to be a gradual shift towards empathy and a consciousness awakening. We cannot keep holding our breath. We cannot look to dates like 2000 and 2012 and hope that a messiah will come and save us. We have tried for decades and have amassed millions of heart-hitting pieces of evidence of how we can make the world a better place, but we still arrive at the exact same starting point, and that starting point is the human being. The psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted an experiment in the 1960s in America which tested people's responses and resistance to authority. His findings were very sad, but perhaps not surprising to the average armchair psychologist out there. 65% of the participants were willing to administer fatal electric torture shocks to the subjects. Milgram wrote, "The legal and philosophic aspects of obedience are of enormous importance, but they say very little about how most people behave in concrete situations. I set up a simple experiment at Yale University to test how much pain an ordinary citizen would inflict on another person simply because he was ordered to do so by an experimental scientist. Stark authority was pitted against the subject's strongest moral imperatives against hurting others, and with the subject's ears ringing with the screams of the victims, authority won more often than not. The extreme willingness of the adults to go to almost any lengths on the command of an authority constitutes the chief finding of the study and the fact most urgently demanding explanation." Yes, they do require explanation, and a lot of explanation, but to me, if this experiment were conducted amongst a generation raised on fast food and quick television, with the backdrop of the dumbing down of society, the numbers would be even more horrific. Probably 80% probably would succumb to authority. I don't know. I call this obedience to authority in the face of personal morality a succumbing to the system demons. This obedience is only possible when the person being tested is not in tune with their higher self, their true inner self. Perhaps it is idealistic of me to think that enlightened people do not succumb to the system demons. But this is the crux of my work. I wish to help people find their true selves and that they will automatically stop the system demons themselves. It's ultimately all about confidence in yourself. Sometimes I have no idea what I am doing. I am often in a lot of pain because I cannot hope to live up to the demands you ask of me. I am a weak and imperfect being just like anyone else, and as such I can only do my best. I welcome the detractors and the haters who wish to write some very nasty things as comments, but they are free to do so, and I trust the viewer can differentiate between vile and genuine criticism. But I wish to say a few words to the pacifists who have always been with us, and necessarily so. I believe that we are all pacifists at heart, and that we want to live in joy, truth and love. Pacifism as an ideology is the most beautiful and most desirable. Post-revolution we will make sure that pacifism is a starting point for all argument, for men must be able to argue peacefully in the interests of everyone all at once. But in times of genuine self-defense, we need the pacifists to fight alongside us too. We need everyone to resist the onslaught of the machine thinking, all at once with no surrender nor compromise. Please remember, this is not aggression, this is not offense, but the defense of our lives and of our souls. Here is the big difference. We do not wish to solve violence with violence, nor fight fire with more fire. And you are right, most revolutions do make things worse. But we do wish to draw a line in the sand and say no more to those who do not even consider us human or worthy of life. And for these reasons, I cannot stay silent. Silence, as Martin Luther King says, is betrayal. So I will carry on. I will carry on with the activism and the words, and I will do my best. Resisting is winning, the struggle is in the fight. The struggle is right, and you must fight the good fight. With love, Charlie.